Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here, bringing you more Pure Gnosis. Now, one of the issues that's come up recently is the use of virtual technologies for radionics and other systems. People have even done this with manifesting sciences, where you're using a computer program and punching in information, maybe uploading pictures, etc. And this has become popular in the radionic area, and these type of machines have even been used by the Radionic Association, etc. And how they actually work has been shown online, etc. And they don't work. It's as plain and simple as that. One of the problems with the Radionic Association is, while they appear to be good-meaning people, they don't have any idea about the technology whatsoever. Just like the American Psychotronic Association, which talks about everything but the actual guts of what makes psychotronics work. What's in a machine? They talk about everything else but machines because they seem to be lost. Now, the issues come up of people, and you can do everything online through this. Now, every time you do something electronically, you go down dramatically in the power that's being broadcast. And when you're talking about subtle energies here, which I have a doctorate in, and I've written over 25 books, 5 courses. I've been on CNN, the BBC, written up in numerous articles. I was on the Art Bell Show. And all the things that go with someone who's an expert that I am in this field, and who's been researching radionics in particular for over 40 years now. And I have just about every type of physical machine made, going back to the 1920s and Abrams, up to all the modern ones. And everything in between. And I've used the virtual ones, I've used the diagram ones, etc. And once you get into computer-based, you're losing all the energetic level to things. First of all subtle energy technologies really require the use of Polaroid or instant film type cameras that capture a live energetic field from whatever you're taking a picture of, whether that's a stone or a car or a person or a dog or an ocean. When you use an instant camera, because the developer is there, the light energies, otherwise known as photons, bounce off a particular object that you've tuned into. Those energies are caught, brought into the film. The film now grabs those photonic energies. And you could say that this is kind of like a fiber optics telephone system. You know, again, people don't seem to understand how photons work and how the use of many laser products we have. Not too long ago, when I told people I used lasers, they, you burn through things. No, this isn't Buck Rogers, people. Lasers are used in everything. And certainly in our phone systems, which are the purest way to get information, and our quantum computers are all based on photon energies, otherwise known as lasers. So they carry huge amounts of information that you can't do in a physical form. So by using these photon energies that bounce off an object, and then these photon energies are holding information, they've just brought a huge informational field into your camera, and they brought it into the area that will develop the film. So what you've done is you've captured that energy field. So it's very important to do that, because you need a very direct access to the target. Now, when you do this in a digital fashion, well, digital doesn't picking up anything by light whatsoever. It's a digital process. And while there are some light aspects to it, you don't really have a chemical reaction. As a matter of fact, the computer software programs want to take out any impurities. They want to change what's there. Well, when you do that, you're changing the energy signature of that item. And it may look pretty. Great to have that for in your actual saved in your photo albums. It's great for that, and you can get some really clear, wonderful pictures. But energetically, they're horrific. And I've worked with these for years and got some pretty amazing energetic pictures from Polaroid cameras, otherwise known as instant film now. There's several people that produce cameras of different types and qualities and larger film. It's quite a big industry, believe it or not now. You think that wouldn't be the case, but there are people that make these cameras, and they are still very popular. And you can get the film, and Fuji is the main manufacturer of these. But there are others that make there are better cameras. Limography, I think, is one of them, which is my favorite. I just recently got one of their cameras. But the whole idea is that you can do these, and the prettiness of the film doesn't matter because you're picking up energy somehow. So they don't look pretty. They're still not taking too good of pictures, but you can learn how to take it if you want to. But why would you? That's not really what they're for. I don't know why you wouldn't use a digital camera for pictures at Christmas or holidays or birthdays, whatever. Even though people love to see it right in front of them now. Even though you can get printers pretty easily. But there's the fun of it popping out. So they are fun cameras. So this is one of the very important things which obviously you eliminate. So you've eliminated all that energy, you've eliminated all the other energies, and what it all boils down to is when you're using a virtual thing is you're using a concentrative tool that you are basically doing, quote, spell casting with. So you can tune in whatever it is, you put it in there, and all you're doing is a little visualization, a little psychic pushing out of that. There's no process happening which is so special to Radionic's consciousness machines, which is the pattern of the wires, the turning of the dials, the actual setup there, the physicality of it, and placing things on it. Now, you can, sigils produce huge amounts of energy when they're physically in front of you, printed out. When you put a sigil on a PDF or you put a sigil on a computer program, and everything to do with that, well, you've ran into a huge and almost entire drop in energetic field energies, which means they just don't work. So if something is purely computer-based, it doesn't work either. Now, machines like the SE5 have certain antennas, scalar antennas and so forth built into them, and they're energizing a computerized sigil information through their specialty antennas. So they tend to work a little better, but the judge or the jury, I should say, is out on the ultimate effectiveness of those kind of machines, and I don't think they're anywhere near as good as the other ones. But it's certainly been around a long time. A lot of people are using them, and some people think they are happy with them. But there still is not a 100% computerized. They use all sorts of different scalar antennas of a physical nature in there. So there are those aspects. When you're using a virtual radionic machine entirely online, you don't have any of that. Now, what they've said of what's produced is the pattern of some of these virtual machines, meaning when you turn a dial on a potentiometer, it creates a particular shape inside of it, to put it in a more metaphysical way. So this is you could say, the opening of something. So as you turn something, the opening is bigger or smaller, and each dial is going to be a little different. Of course, that creates an actual energetic pattern. Now, if you were to print those out, it would have some value because you are changing the sigil nature of it each time you're doing it. But to put it on an actual screen is going to have a minimal effect. And then when you have to add in your photograph, there becomes a further problem with it. So, because you're putting in worthless energetic fields. So, anything that's virtual is a big waste of time, and if you pay any kind of money for it, you're a fool. Now, we are always researching things, and there's a few courses. I have a little wish machine thing I got many years ago, and I've used it with no results whatsoever. They are kind of cool to look at. They're wild, they're fun, they're funky, but they're worthless. So they're a good screensaver you could keep on. They're not really doing anything. Flashing stuff like that, staying in the computerized realm, does absolutely nothing, especially when it's 100% computerized. It's not really its own individual machine, as I mentioned that the SE5s are, so there is some credibility there. But there is not credibility to a virtual machine in any way whatsoever. The physicality of things are very important. You cannot eliminate the physical. The whole idea is to have physical technologies amplify the non-physical consciousness technologies that you're putting out. And while of course if you concentrated on a virtual machine and were a very strong psychic person, well, it's going to be like so many things out there, it's going to be a psychic crutch. And by focusing on something, sending energy that because you set up this procedure virtually on your screen, you may get some results from that, but you're not getting continuing broadcasting. All psychic signatures, when they're not handled properly, amplified and transmitted out, as we do with even our Triforce systems, which are pseudo-radionic in nature, you will not be getting continued energy. Once that psychic energy is sent into there, it's breaking down immediately unless it's amplified properly, as I just said, the way of doing it. So this kind of technology is worthless. It is nothing more than a crutch. If you want to have something like that to play with it as a psychic tuner, meaning you set it all up, you pop out the rate, and you send energy to it, well, there may be a value of that. But as you said, it's limited. You're using it only for that second. There's no amplification of it, so whatever you put out at that moment, and depending on your psychic strength, which is many things, are you calm, cool, collected? Did you have a good day? Did you eat garlic or onions, which is going to mess your head up? So the whole idea is that these are all part of the understanding when you get only into the pure psychic, and it's not amplified. You know, the whole key is to amplify through physical realities, whether that's a crystal, some other stone, or some sort of electronic device, which does seem to do the actual process. This has been proven. You cannot beat non-electrified machines. It's just the way it is. Something is happening in electrification to grab your consciousness, psychic energies, amplify them, and project them out, which you can't do yourself. So it is a boost. It's like, I don't know, getting some sort of jolt in your brain to put out more energy. And these are often sustained as long as the machines are on. So you just can't beat that, but you can't do that with a computerized machine. So I think it's very important that people understand that. There's been software like this going around for years and still is out there where people are selling these kind of softwares and so forth out there. As I said, as a fun little thing, if you can get them cheap, why not? The wishing machine I think I got for $5 or $6. It is something, if you're a serious researcher, to know about and look at. In terms of having any power, it doesn't work. If this stuff worked to the degree that all these people state it did, and it's so easy to do it, well, the world would probably be a giant mess, but more than it is. So, but the bottom line is you really got to know, as a manifesting scientist and coming from an expert such as myself, the really expert in consciousness radionic machines on the planet. There's really nobody that knows any more than I do. They haven't studied the variants of things that I have, and it's difficult to find anybody who's been in this for 40 years who is not just working with one technology as well. I've checked them all out, from the beginning ones to all the newer stuff. So, and spent years, and this is my profession, and I've been doing it full time for 30 years now. So the whole idea is that this is getting information will save you a lot of misery and a lot of money. And remember, there is no reality until the manifesting scientist creates it. Until next time.